Okay, let's talk a little more broadly, if you will. Colleges and universities increases in both number and size. The last quarter of the 1800s, we have a lot of overcrowding, and we have problems involving the German model. And those problems involving the German model have to do with who owns academia. The problem starts with increasing numbers of returning European PhDs. Remember Edward Everett? Remember George Tickner? They were the first two to go over to Europe and pursue advanced degrees. Most of them returned with degrees in science. Now, Everett and Tickner returned with degrees in what would be called the arts. Most of the others returned with degrees in science. Just about all returned convinced of the superiority of the German research model. And so the philosophical clash between arts and science professors. You have the arts people who believe you don't really need a PhD. You got the science people saying you really do need the PhD. Not only that, you need to follow the example of the German research model. All that coupled with overcrowding leads to a lot of fermentation going on. Leads to graduate schools. Leads to junior colleges. Leads to departments of education and teachers' colleges and degrees in education. Let's talk about each one of those. Graduate schools, the earliest attempts failed. Attempts were made at Harvard, NYU, Columbia, and Pennsylvania. They were all done in by the arts people who stonewalled and just simply did not get with the program. So more students went to Europe, more returned, converted to the idea of the German research model. The first American doctorate was offered at Yale in 1861, but the first real success was an institution known as Johns Hopkins. It was founded in 1876. It was founded on the bequeathment of a wealthy Baltimore Quaker named Johns Hopkins. It was founded as a graduate school only. That was the European model. They had separate graduate schools and undergraduate schools. Johns Hopkins owes its success to its first president, who was a German research model advocate named Daniel Coit Gilman. Gilman believed a true university, and there were a lot of people using that phrase. What's a true university? What's a real university? Must house great libraries, great laboratories, great museums, as well as sponsor journals and operate a university press. And to this end, Gilman reduced faculty assignments to allow time for research and for writing. Gilman viewed doctoral study as the producer of higher education faculties. Now, not the faculties in faculty psychology, the faculties that inhabit university. How do you become a university or college professor? You get a doctoral degree. The typical American graduate school was superimposed on an undergraduate institution. Even those which started out graduate only ultimately added undergraduate schools. The German ones, as I say, were separate. In the American schools, we also share faculty. So even at this institution, some people teach both graduates and undergraduates. Or at this institution, the younger faculty teach the undergraduates, the graduate faculty teach the graduate schools, and the really old ones teach the doctoral students. And even the retired ones come back to do online courses for the doctoral student ones. Status games. Ha ha ha, I teach more advanced students than you do. Not only all the stuff I've been rambling about, the American graduate school stressed from the beginning applied research, whereas those in Europe tended to stress what we would call pure research. Research that wasn't necessarily leading anywhere, but might produce something that would turn out to be useful. Now, in this country, we wanted to know, what am I going to get out of this? What good is this going to be? Leaving the graduate school, junior colleges at this time don't really exist. They are figments of the imagination of a number of people. They're an idea trying to formulate itself. And they all have to do with that same question again: what is a real university? And it's also tied to that concept of graduate education.